Welcome, Rajeev,
Thank you.
to the show, to all that Kerala chat along the backwaters. Thanks for agreeing to come and be with us today. Thank you for your time. As a young IAS officer, when you first learned that you're going to be posted to Lakshwadeep, what was your reaction? I'm sure you would have wanted to be posted to Goa or Pondicherry or Delhi, being in the Union Territory. Look at his smile. He's got that
Hi.
broad smile
Thank
when I
you.
spoke about Goa, Pondicherry. But he was, I mean, hugely disappointed when you heard about Lakshadweep. Did you ask somebody, where is that? What was your first reaction? Did you ask somebody to bring up a map and point out Lakshadweep to you? What was your first reaction, Rajeev, when you were told you're going to be posted as administrator of all the places to a place called Lakshadweep?
May I start?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. First of all, thank you, Mohit, and thank you, MP. I think you, it's an MAS. It's a mutual admiration society. All of us have always admired and held MP Joseph, the perpetually young-looking trainee officer, I guess, in the IAS. He still looks like one. But we've always we've always admired him for his spoken word, his written word, his demeanor and personality, and the kind of exposure that he's got. I think that is a wholesome, not so young man, I can say that now, because you've seen me, so I guess I can't, if he's my batchmate.
Rajeev, this is about Lakshadweep, not about me.
Yes, so I'm just starting that what was the first reaction? Actually, I'd been to Lakshadweep myself in 1987 for the meeting of the Island Development Authority by the then Prime Minister. So, but that was a ship journey from Kochi, and of course, way back, Kavrati was the one that we saw. And after having been in the center for roughly about 8 years, which was in 2 stints, I had to do a posting outside Delhi. I knew that. And I was given very sane advice by a very senior officer that it's much better to be number 1 in a small place than to be number 3, 4, 5, 6 in a big place. And you talked of the other union territories. I've done nearly 4 years in Goa, 3 years in the Northeast, and therefore Lakshadweep was absolutely welcoming. It was welcome to me. In fact, I must tell you, I spent nearly 3 years there, 2 years, 11 months to be exact. And after being there for 2 months, I wrote a letter to the Government of India Ministry of Home Affairs, which was our cadre controlling authority, that I am grateful to you for this posting, and it's a lovely place to be in, which was commented by one of our very well-known seniors who later enjoyed a constitutional provision. He said, I thought you were a nut, but now I'm very certain that you are one. That why didn't you avoid that posting? But really, it's something which is born out of experience now in hindsight, and I must say that this was the best part of my life.
Why do you say that? Why do you say it's the best part of your life?
First of all, MP, you've known the IAS. To get a union territory and to be called its administrator under Article 235 AA, and which is today called the lieutenant. The same post is today called the lieutenant governor. But to be called an administrator, the kind of facilities they give you, and there was a big change which had come in from 1987 to 1996 when I took over charge on the 1st of August. Lots of facilities were available. You had the chance to do a lot of work. So therefore, it was a very satisfying tenure. But more than that, it was your ability to maintain a work-life balance. I think a balanced life in a place like Lakshadweep, no pollution. It almost looked like stars were, kind of hanging just above your territory. And no pollution, absolutely clean atmospheres, simple food. You could get Kerala. I think while the islanders are fiercely independent, and make no mistake, they belong to a separate territory by themselves. They have their own individual personality. But I think the interlinkage with a marvelous state of India called Kerala, I think, is a good fortune for us.
As administrator, Rajeev, you must have been, It's Lieutenant Governor now. As Lieutenant Governor, let me say, administrator, you must have been king of all that you saw, as you
Yes.
said. But you must have been living in a glass house, everybody watching you. Why are you? I mean, everybody looking at you. You must have been like a fish in a bowl.
You
Life,
are.
life was like being in the open. Everybody watched you. Did you miss your privacy? Uh,
Not
did you
at
have
all.
time for
Not
yourself?
at all. Believe me, I mean, these people are so good here that while they did hold you accountable for every minute of your existence, but yes, so very, very supportive. If you work hard, they actually had faith in you. They believed in you and that you could get results. And I mean, I must say that democracy was very much ingrained. They are literate. They are absolutely, literate, and I mean, they had the advantage of being to Kerala. Even we have education institutions in Lakshadweep, but you could always go for higher studies to Kerala. And
Can you
language,
recall something that has really good happened to you there? Something that you can remember, something really good.
I can tell you that health-wise, my mother, I mean, she died at the age of 97, but she was a severe diabetic. My brother, who was also in the civil services, who's 75 plus, is also a diabetic. I think the biggest favor that mankind, Lakshadweep, Kerala, and God could do to me was that due to pure physical action, good place and good environment with lots of physical workouts, whether it was swimming or diving or whether cycling or playing badminton over there, I till today don't have diabetes.
Something very bad that happened to you before I move away from your personal to something more about anything,
Bad,
something that
I
really
think,
bad happened to you that you recall from those
no,
days.
I cannot recall anything bad.
Okay.
Uh, It's uh,
Seriously.
it's nothing. I mean, nothing bad happened. The only thing I could say is that yes, one had to come back to the mainstream here, and there was so much work left to be done.
I can assure you there's nobody from Lakshadweep in the participants group, so you
No,
can be honest if you want
no,
to.
believe me. And I mean, you'd be surprised. Democracy was well ingrained. They are very literate, and I think the exposure to a matrilineal system was something unique for me. That
Before I come to that, is it true that there are no ants in Lakshadweep? Is it very true that there are no cockroaches there?
see,
I
I
love a
remember
place
it
where
as
there are
that.
no cockroaches. I'm not afraid of elephants. I'm afraid of cockroaches. Are there seriously no cockroaches or
Believe
ants
me,
in?
I think so because there is no soil as we know mud. These are islands which have existed for millions or billions of years with a live coral reef around. When the coral reef dies, a part of that gets crushed and gets into the lagoon, and that's when it goes, due to the wind forces, it goes to the eastern side of the lagoon, and that's what is an island. It's pure white. In fact, people from Kerala would know that these coconut saplings from Lakshadweep are a prized item because they've been into this salty soil, because that's what the coral dust is. They've been in that soil, salted for millions of years. They've grown up there. They are naturally disease resistant.
And I'm told that even the cats are vegetarian or semi-vegetarian. They
No,
don't
they're not
eat meat.
vegetarian, but they get plenty of fish waste. So, in an open space, you can find poultry walking, you can find a hen with her chicks going around, and they're not scared of being attacked by cats. Rats don't come and eat your clothes or your food. Rats are those are vegetarian, they are very, very choosy and selective. They go up the tree and have coconuts, and you can see them flying or traversing from one tree another to eat coconuts. In fact, our big experiment was that how do you have a rat trap, which, or to save coconuts, which was merely a sheet of aluminium inverted and put onto a tree, so that if in the monsoons the rats come down, they are unable to go up.
Oh, I see.
So that's how, what a unique place it is.
You spoke of corals, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Let me go to a slightly more serious area. Now, some of the corals must be fast disappearing because of environmental pollution. I'm told it's happening all across the world. in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Is that happening in Lakshwadeep these days? Are the coral reefs safe, or is the environment changing and the coral reefs dying?
Fortunately, I think India has followed a very good policy. We are not over exploiting the islands. We are not burdened with a population like burdened with economic responsibilities in a country like Maldives, that they have to exploit the resources to the maximum. India keeps it absolutely preserved, and therefore it is maybe ocean currents and the warmth of the ocean currents or changes in those which may affect corals. But fortunately, I think as a country, India does nothing which can go against corals over there. In fact, I think we do have the liberty over there. We did have the liberty to turn all planning upside down, and it was central focus was on the environment. Everything had to conform to a good environmental behavior, and that is what was really determinant of all the policies.
Diving is a growing sport in Kerala and across India these days. Can Lakshadweep be promoted as a diving destination?
It's one of the best. It is truly one of the best. You actually see, if you dive in Lakshadweep, first of all, in the lagoons, if you can walk and with your glasses on, it's like again being in an aquarium, because exotic fish can be seen of all colors and all kinds over there. The moment you go out of the lagoon and dive, it is literally to dive into the Discovery Channel. All that you've ever seen on Discovery Channel, whether it is sharks, whether it is moray eels, leopard eels, dolphins, name any kind of fish, you will see them there. And it's a pleasure. Tortoise, I mean, what turtles, large turtles, I mean, snappers, I mean, name it. You only have to feel that you should have enough time to last during a dive. And then it's also a very great lesson, the power of nature. Once you are in the sea and you are down, believe me, if the current is flowing some other way, you could be miles off within a few minutes. So you got to, and you realize how dependent you are on your buddy who's diving. But I mean, I have so many experiences of my own, of my young son. A leopard eel came and wound itself around him. And it was always well fed. I mean, the sea life there has a very unique balance. So while everyone was scared, I mean, then my son played with that eel, following that eel, not touching it, for about 15 minutes in the Kadmat flats, the sand over there. So it's a place which is worth a visit. We do have ships which carry people on a 5-day, 6-day trip from Kochi back to Kochi. You visit islands in the morning, and nights you spend in the ship.
Amazing to hear about the corals and the fishes. I mean, I was hearing you spellbound when you mentioned that. It's almost as though I could see them in my mind's eye as you spoke about them.
And you could do
diving is something that is possible as a tourist potential. What about golf courses? Are there golf courses?
No, sorry, our islands are too small. They've got a very high density of population. And I mean, Lakshadweep, for that matter, is 3.6 kilometers, 7 kilometers in length, but 3.6 kilometers, I mean, no golf at all.
No golf. Okay. Srinivas and Raghavan asked
to Kerala.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
There's a question in from Srinivas and Raghavan, who asks whether it's possible, aquatic research university there.
One should. Actually, the NIO, the National Institute of Oceanography, headquartered in Goa, they could have an office there. And I actually want to tell you that it gives you so much of freedom of thought. This is a very, very good one. Please do compliment him that somewhere from some university in Goa or in Kerala, we should begin for maritime research and coral research. Maybe we should begin something over there. During my time, while we had schools and we were trying to get them on the internet, that we should have digital education there, that you could put a projector, connect it to the TV, and project material for people who are in the islands, and you could then visit any library because that time there were no Baijus, there were no other such platforms for education. We were then dependent on for telemedicine hospitals in Kerala. Specialists in Kerala used to do that free of cost. We could send them reports, we could send them x-rays, and they would advise. Similarly, then, if it was a requirement, patients could be shifted there. We used to run, why do I remember Philip Matthew? We had an arrangement with Malayalam Manorama. They used to run an English newspaper as well as a Malayalam newspaper. We used to get a feed every night from Kochi free of cost. And we used to take out a 4-page pamphlet, 2 pages in English, 2 pages in Malayalam, with the latest news in Kavarati. So you could do so many things over there. It was just amazing. We had a team of flying doctors. We had a helicopter there. Instead of ferrying patients to Kavarati from the other islands, where we had the main hospital, we used to fly all our doctors to the islands so that they got regular medical advice.
Health to home.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and
Health
everyone knew everybody
to
there. Everyone knew everybody. The two main leaders, Mr. PM Said, I think was a 9 or 10 time elected member of parliament.
I know, he holds a record.
And we used to call him the saint of Lakshadweep. And his opponent, who was also his best friend, was Dr. Mohammad Koya, who was a medical doctor. So that is the kind of caliber which your leaders had over there. One was an advocate, the other one was a doctor, and everyone had a view, everyone in the panchayat and the leaders there had a view that yes, if you are sincere and you want to do good for the islands, there's no stopping you.
Dinkar wants to know if there's Arab influence in Lakshadweep.
None at all.
He says like in the Maldives.
None at all.
It's a very Kerala sort of.
Well, it's like I said, they are fiercely independent.
Not even Kerala. Yes.
No, they would not like to be known as an outpost of Kerala, but yes, they are very well integrated with the society of Kerala. They know that extremely well. They know many of them from Lakshadweep even live in Kerala. But the best part of Kerala, I think they imbibe, and the best things of Kerala they learn. Of course, they're highly litigation minded, which I think is the good part of Kerala also. Yes.
Absolutely. They're litigation minded. Dinkar also wanted to know how far has Lakshadweep extended India's exclusive economic zone? But I think you already answered that.
Yeah,
so
that's roughly, I think, 600 kilometers from the coast of Kerala. I mean, that's how. And MP, we were able to do a strange thing. We were able to, talking about tourism, that aircraft which was located in Lakshadweep itself, we used to have 2 flights a week to Kochi, but we also used to have a flight to Goa.
Oh, nice.
So that, Goa is also a great tourism center. So we thought that it would be much easier to get people from Goa also, as from, Kochi was the catchment area for all of South India.
Speaking of tourism, what about agriculture tourism? Tourists coming in to be part of an agriculture village, joining in the ploughing, the seeding, the harvesting. Not much there, of course, but
we didn't have much of that. We don't have
coconut trees.
Much. Coconut trees, and that allowed
tourists coming to climb coconut trees and chop off coconuts. Is that a possibility?
Well, they could do that, but what we were really dependent on environment rather than agriculture was things like, how do you turn an entire administration on its head with environment as the principle, dictating principle over there. We actually landed up that yes, we would provide plastic tanks, because that is what was, we would have rainwater harvesting in a very simple manner. Like you have in Kerala, you have, slanting roofs. And if you place a pipe 6 inches or 12 inches in diameter at the end of the slant roof, all the water would come in there. We would collect tens of thousands of liters in every building to last us, because you had fresh water was a great problem there. So then we also began cooling our DG sets, because all electricity was from diesel generator sets. So we began cooling that with seawater. The evaporated water would be distilled, and then you could mix it up with the wells over there. Similarly, you could do another, I mean, we did another thing, that husk briquettes. That can we now, husk was a great polluter. So could we make bricks out of that? We were in talks with Thermax. We also landed up a 1 megawatt plant spread over 11 islands. That every island would get 100 kilowatt plant over there, and 11 islands put together would make a 1 megawatt plant. Now, I mean, all this was quite a challenge, and at the same time, very satisfying.
Rajeev, some three interesting questions have come up.
Please.
I'll start with the last one first. There is, I think, there is Abdul Rahman wanting to know if it's possible to put up a digital university there. That's the first question. I'll put the three questions to you. You can answer them in the order. There's MC Roy, who says, why is Lakshadweep not a natural choice of a holiday destination for Keralites? He says he stayed in Bangaram in 97 with his family and would like to get a flavor of the local life in various islands. I know there are ships, but they are mostly catering to local Lakshadweepis and not to tourists. So, and the second question is, are there affordable hotels? This is from Gopakumar. He says, are there affordable hotels? Bangaram is very expensive for most of us, all of us. But for ordinary hotels where middle-class Indians can stay, that's a question from Gopakumar.
Digital university, of course. I think now we do have even mobile services over there, telecom mobile services. So definitely there is all the availability now for and possibility of a digital university or classes over there. I think that's something which is an excellent island, and even running a college would be great because the islanders would love to stay on. I mean, of course, we do think it's a great advantage if they can go to any place in India, including many universities in Kerala. But they, by nature, they would like to stay in their own island. And if we could start digital classes, education classes, that would be absolutely perfect. The second thing, natural choice for tourism from Kerala. Of course, it is there. I mean, they can come in by ships, they can come in by catamarans, they can come in by airplane. So there is a thing, but yes, it is a trifle expensive. It's not that you can afford, kind of janta tourism there, because there is a natural density of the islands, carrying capacity of the islands. Since we are so careful about maintaining the environment and the culture over there, the numbers which come are small. But Minikoi, great cottages there. We, in fact, to tell you the truth, we made them smaller because of the size of the islands, but we copied it from the Coconut Lagoon with open to air toilets. So, I mean, nothing very greatly creative by me, but that's what we picked up. We sent our officers, and Jose was very kind. He allowed us to copy that design, and we did copy that. Similarly, in Agati, in Kadmat, there's a diving. There was a diving institute also, and in Kavrati, we do have places where people can come and stay. But I think it's the natural choice for people from Kerala, because they know a simple life, and the kind of food habits that we do have are excellent over there. But please don't expect very exotic food, because they normally do not believe in prawns and lobsters, because those are scavengers of the sea. So they don't really believe in, they have tuna, which I used to call designer tuna. Believe me. Yeah, designer tuna. Tuna is a very fast moving fish, and tuna pursiners all over the world are equipped with helicopters to see where the shoal is moving and then trap it in the nets. So a large number of other fish also get caught into it, and they're processed by machines.